This is the Financial Game Plan with Hannah. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, fellow investors, and all of you looking to create a prosperous future for yourselves through the world of real estate investing. Hi, everyone, and welcome to today's episode. I have a new guest with me. Cole McKnight is with me today. He is someone that I have met through several of the local meetups. He's becoming a great friend. He is the vice president of Crestworth Capital. Welcome, Cole. How are you today?
Doing well, Hannah. Thanks so much for having me on. This is actually my first appearance as a guest on a podcast, so this is awesome. Thanks so much for having me.
Cole, tell me, who are you? What made you want to do real estate instead of having a super typical 9 to 5? Tell me all about you.
A quick rundown: from Baton Rouge, born and raised, went to Catholic high school, and then I knew that I wanted to go to a different city to get out of Baton Rouge, see some new faces, meet new people, and basically get away from my parents. So I ended up going to the University of Louisiana Monroe, which is in Northeast Louisiana, and I went there on an academic scholarship and a scholarship for track and field. So I spent 5 years there being a student athlete, and I got my undergrad degree in marketing, and then I got my master's in business administration. Now, while I was there, and I ended up meeting this guy at the gym, and he just so happened to be a very successful syndicator. He's in apartment complexes, storage units, all this other stuff. And we just became friends. That's how I was initially introduced into the world of real estate. So he is in a business networking group with my current boss, Sterling Chapman. And Jeff, the guy, knew that I was from Baton Rouge. And so when it was time for me to get a job, he said, "Hey, Sterling, I got this kid. He did marketing, whatever. He's looking for a job. Do you have an opening?" So Sterling hired me, and here I am now. I'm going on 14 months being here, and I initially started as the director of marketing. And then now, like, my title is vice president. But with being in a small company, I tell people sometimes I'm a gopher, sometimes I'm the vice president. So today, for instance, I had to go out to a not so great area of town and check on a couple of our properties that we manage. And it's just one of those things, being a small company and a firm, and we're growing really fast, but we have to wear a lot of different caps. So just being versatile and being able to fit in where you can and doing whatever task needs to be done is kind of my day to day currently.
In 14 months, you've gone from director to VP. And I know you say you wear many hats, but you have to admit that's pretty spectacular.
It's been a lot. I wouldn't say it's the easiest thing in the world, but duty calls and somebody's got to do it and step up. And that's just how I've learned that small businesses work. So no, I'm not the entrepreneur, but I am the entrepreneur's integrator. Boss man comes to me and he says, "I think this is a great idea, and it's my job to come in here and implement it and make sure it gets done and that it's followed through with, and that these things do happen." So he's got a ton of stuff on his plate. So I take whatever I can off of it. I ensure that our property management, we have the oversight and make sure nothing's slipping through the cracks. So that's just how it works. And I mean, is that a VP's task to go design something on Canva for business development? No, but being a small company, it's just something that I do. Right.
Question. When I spoke to you at a networking event last week, you told me you were getting ready to make a purchase. Can you tell us about that purchase? Because I am so excited for you.
Yeah, so this will be my first real estate investing deal. I actually just today walked the property with the realtor, and it's a fourplex, literally 2 feet away from the office I'm sitting in right now. And it's great because I love the neighborhood. I love the zip code. My parents are right down the road. My grandparents are right down the road. We literally manage the fourplex right next to it. Got it under contract for less than 100,000 per unit. So
Wow.
that was a big win. Locked
Wow. Yeah.
in the rate last week at 6.25%.
Mhm.
So the mortgage lender, she was telling me rates are fixing to go up, so probably need to lock in. And it's like, do I want to sit and wait? Do I want to lock in now? What have you, what have you? And
Right.
a lot of times people get stuck in limbo where they're like waiting for the exact perfect time, the perfect deal, the perfect whatever. And this was one of those situations where this fourplex was on the market, somebody had it under contract, and then they completely ghosted the realtor. So the realtor immediately listed it back, and somebody who lived in or currently lives in the fourplex happens to work at the gym Sterling works at, and told him, "Hey, this fourplex is for sale, da 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 da." And he tells me, and it's like, dude, this is a great deal. Go check it out. So I talked to the realtor and got it under contract. We negotiated a deal, talked to the mortgage lender, locked that up, and then ended up walking it today. So it's one of those things where if I was like, the interest rates are kind of high, I want to wait, I wouldn't have gotten it. I would have lost the deal. So I guess my advice to anybody who's looking to make their first deal or just looking in general is you got to be willing to pull the trigger. You can't just sit there and analyze and analyze and analyze, or you'll never get anything done. And I think that was the biggest struggle for me. I was like, geez, I'm kind of scared. Like, maybe I don't have enough income. Maybe one of the tenants is going to leave. Maybe I'll be stuck with a big bill that I can't pay or whatever. But it will work out. You will figure out a way to do it. And I have full confidence that anybody else can take the plunge and make their first deal and get it done.
I am so proud of you and accepting the fact that you're like analysis paralysis is a real thing. Making the deal happen is huge. And a fourplex at that for your very first one is really, really fantastic. I have another question for you. Do you want to stay in the fourplex area? Do you want to scale up? Do you want apartment complexes? Like, where do you see yourself, say, 5 years? What's kind of your plan and vision?
That's a very good question. And I do not have an exact answer for you.
That's okay. That's okay.
I know for me, there's very specific areas that I want to avoid. And that would be like the area I had to go to earlier today for
Right.
one of our third party owners. So I like the part of town that I'm in and that I'm used to. And if it's a single family rental or a small apartment complex or maybe even a big apartment complex, I don't want to limit myself one way or the other. I tend to be more attracted to multifamily,
Okay.
but that's not to say that there's not good money to be made in single family.
Absolutely. I have a couple of single family homes. A lot of people knock them. Granted, I got them when interest rates were, a percent, percent and a half, 2%. They cash flow fabulously. Now, of course, insurance right now is killing me here in South Louisiana. That's just what's going on right now. But single family homes, there's nothing wrong with them. I also have the 11 door apartment complex, and I do like the multifamily more. It seems that just things are in the same spot. If the flooring pulls up in this unit, I can go to the storage unit and pull the flooring up that I'm going to use in all of them. It just seems to be a little bit more conducive to your time and to your efforts. Now, another question I have. In end of May, early June, I ran into you and your associate Jonathan at Dealmaker Live. I know that you were not thrilled to be there. Did you enjoy the experience at this conference?
I did. It was great. It was my first conference, and I think it's one of those things again where you just have to do it. And I was talking with this other guy about sometimes they're a little pitchy, sometimes they're a little hoorah, like pat on the back, you can all do it. But he was saying how important it was to speak to people in the lobby and to network and to make connections with the people. And it's more about that than the actual information you learn sitting in the sessions, taking notes from the speaker. So, I mean, even with you and your friend and me and my coworker, like we had dinner, we knew each other, and we talked, and we talked about your apartment complex, how you're going to sell it, what rates you have it at, this and that, and that's where the real information and connection and value is brought from a conference.
Do you think networking can make or break you in the real estate world?
Absolutely. Your network's everything. I mean, if I didn't meet the guy, Jeff, in the gym 4 years ago in 3.5 hours away from where I am right now, I wouldn't be sitting here having this conversation with you.
Isn't that amazing? And a little scary, that little off chance. I mean, if you could have easily stayed home and ate pizza instead of going to the gym that day, and yet you went, your consistency, the values that you have in being healthy, right? Because I mean, I know you, so I know you like to be healthy. So if you didn't go to the gym that day, that conversation, it would have never led to you being the vice president of this company. That's crazy to me. It's absolutely crazy. When you think about your investing, and I know you said you're not really quite sure of what your journey is or quite where you're going to go in 5 years, but is this something you want to continue to, or do you feel like fourplex, I'm good, little mailbox money, and I'm moving on, or is this something you really want to pursue?
I definitely want to invest more. After this down payment, it'll be,
Yes.
another probably 9 to 15 months before I make another one. But yeah, absolutely. In the future, want to do more. I don't think I'm going to get into single family, honestly.
Let's talk about you were talking about the property management. Is that something you enjoy doing? I know that part of Crestworth Capital has a property management company. Is that something you like to be hands-on? Do you like the nitty-gritty? Do you like to get your hands dirty? Do you don't like it? Tell me about that experience.
Yeah, so with property management, getting your hands dirty is very nuanced, I guess. There's literal and then there's physical. So we
True.
had a house in a not so great area. The rent was probably $550 a month max.
Okay.
And it had been sitting vacant for a couple months. We take over management, we get in there, clean it out, board up the windows, board up the doors, and then these people break in at one point and they literally defecate on the living room floor
Nasty.
just to mess with us. Like we're known in the area. They recognize our cars because we manage 10 houses in that neighborhood, and those people are not pleased with us. So there's getting your hands dirty like that, and then there's getting your hands dirty with, hey, we have a disgruntled tenant. They didn't get their AC fixed fast enough, and it's 103 degrees outside. So why is the AC guy not there? Why hadn't he fixed it? So there's two different sides of that. But overall, I really do enjoy property management. It gets me out of sitting behind this desk and I get to see other people. I get to drive around town. And some days that's really enjoyable. Other days, it could be raining and storming, and I got to go get this person to sign a lease or whatever. So there is a great value in property management. And I know for you, like you manage that 11 unit apartment
Mhm.
complex yourself. And that's great. That's awesome because people can save money and they can also make money. So if you go and buy another 25 unit apartment complex, maybe that's too many units for you to manage. So who are you going to
Right.
come to first? Crestworth Property Management.
Do you want to? I know you were talking about it would take you quite a few months to pull up that down payment again, which sounds very similar to what Brad and I did with our very first single family home. It was a similar situation. Someone had pulled, or their financing actually fell through. We bought a home straight off of MLS, conventional mortgage, 20% down. And I'm like, I thought I was going to die handing over that check because it was such a large chunk out of my savings account. And then we turned around and did it a few more times. And then we're like, okay, we can't keep pulling out of our savings account. We had to partner up, and we did. We partnered up with someone to buy that complex. And now I'm looking at partnering with other people to buy bigger complexes. And I want to move into syndication. Is that something you would like to move into? Partnering with other people, coming together? What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think partnerships are great. You really just need to find where you like hit your limit and then somebody else takes over. And it'd be vice versa for that too. So find a partnership that really works for you and y'all go off each other's strengths and weaknesses. For me, my parents sold some land a while back, so they ran into some money. And so my next, like, I guess, joint venture would be taking some private money from them in the future if they're willing. For the apartment syndications, Crestworth Capital is a general partner in 5 complexes, and we're looking to do our sixth deal. With the way the market is right now, we're kind of sitting and waiting, but we're not doing the whole analysis paralysis. We're just waiting to see what comes up, and we want that to be something good for our investors. So we don't have anything specifically on the docket yet.
How do you get your investors? Where do you find them?
A lot of them are referrals. So it could be from, my parents or aunt and uncle or Sterling's parents or Sterling's, best friends, uncles, college roommates, cousin. So in this industry, it's a small circle, and it could be from a BNI group or a networking event like the meetup where, we all met.
Right.
A lot of times people come in with these huge marketing and email tactics and Instagram ads, and like with that, you gotta be weary of the SEC regulations. But in this industry, it's the personal connections and being able to provide somebody value. I'll take your money and I'll give you a return and I'll give you a tax break and all this stuff. And it's not the stock market where you're just throwing darts at a dartboard and hoping something sticks.
My experience with the stock market has not been fabulous. It feels like anytime we do anything with it, all we do is lose money. I have a friend and I joke about it. It feels like the stock market is a yo-yo diet. You know, you're up, you're down, you're up, you're down. Your pants don't fit at the end of the day. You lose your money. It just doesn't make sense. I love real estate because it is a tangible asset that you can touch. It is yours. I literally on a Thursday afternoon can go drive by and touch my building and be like, hey, you're there making me money. I love that.
Hmm.
And I wish more people would understand real estate is something that truly anyone can do, right? I mean, the knowledge is free online. Like you can YouTube and Google this stuff, it's here. The partnerships are available, the meetups are here, but anyone can do this. You know, we're taught as kids to be safe, put your money in the stock markets, IRAs, pick whatever. It just doesn't work. It just doesn't work. What would, for you specifically, if you were to go with a partner next or an investor, what would your perfect investor look like?
I think the perfect investor for me would look like somebody who is super analytical and looks at the Excel spreadsheets and runs the numbers and just is super, super, super quick with all the finer details. I think where I'm better suited is kind of the broader picture and looking at the grand scheme of things versus the super, super, super nitty gritty. So I would need somebody that would be my right hand man for that, and I could be their right hand man for the general asset management as opposed to just looking in, really honing into the numbers and examining the T12 and the rent roll and all this stuff where that is not my strong suit. I don't want to sit behind a computer screen and look at numbers 8 hours a day. That just doesn't pique my interest.
So what do you enjoy doing? Like what is your thing? Like what's the thing you're like when Sterling's like, "Hey, I need you to do this." You're like, "Yes, I like doing that." What is it? What do you like?
I enjoy investor relations,
Hmm.
and that's sending email updates for our monthly apartment complexes. That's also sending a newsletter. I really like putting that together because with the newsletter, we take Crestworth as a whole and say, okay, this is what we did on the construction side. This is what we did on the property management side. This is what's going on with the apartments. And then we add a little bit of value. This is who spoke at the meetup this month and just providing information there. I do enjoy property management stuff, and stuff is the best way to describe it. That could be going out like today after we went to the bad area of town. We went to a better area of town and looked at one of the houses and saw that they needed the yard cut. So I was like, hey, Mason, need to get this guy's yard cut, like just billing back to him. I enjoy some days sitting behind the desk and looking at the computer screen all day, but there's other days where I'm like, geez, I just need to get out, get some fresh air, want to go talk to some people, maybe some vendors, whoever. But a lot of the time it just ends up where wherever I'm needed, I need to go. And need to be able to wear those many different hats. So it's hard for me to say, yeah, this is where I spend 100% of my time, or this is where I would love to spend 100% of my time.
Is it difficult for you to wear that many hats? Like my day job is a school teacher and I wear, I feel like 3,000 hats. And sometimes I'm like, I don't want to receipt money. I want to just teach the kids. Is it hard for you to wear the hats?
Some days are definitely harder than others. The end of last week, I was drained. I was completely out of it. Friday afternoon couldn't work. Thursday afternoon couldn't work. I was just done with it. Dog tired. And part of that was because our head property manager just left for maternity leave. So it's not that I'm doing all of the property management stuff, but it's just I'm overseeing it and making sure that we're doing all the right things. And it just kept all of my attention and focus to make sure we're still providing the best value to our owners, making sure that we're still collecting rent for the properties that we own and manage. And it was just draining. It was exhausting. But at
What
the end
do
of the day, we got through it and we did it.
what do you do to help prepare yourself? Like, is there a mindset thing, certain exercises? Like, what do you do to say, like, okay, Cole, I can do this? Like, what do you do?
Drink caffeine.
Okay.
That's about it.
Okay.
But yeah, we are big avid caffeine drinkers at Crestworth HQ. So
Gotcha.
that
Gotcha.
is
Gotcha.
that's what gives us that extra boost.
So for Christmas, I'm sending coffee. Is that what you're telling me?
Coffee, Celsius, rain, bang, whatever it is.
Oh Lord. Okay, so I want to ask you another question. It's a question I've been asking almost every person on the podcast, and it's mindset. What does mindset mean for you? And how does that help you since we're talking about your investments? How does that help you fuel your journey?
for me, it's more of a lifestyle choice. Like I wake up in the morning and I say, geez, I'm tired, but I still need to get up. I still need to go to work. I still need to do all these things and check these boxes, but I also need to do them to a certain level. So it's like this morning I woke up and snoozed my alarm 6 times. But after that, I still put my clothes on and went outside in 90-degree heat and went on a 3-mile jog. So like it's just something that I have to do, and I'm not going to let me being tired or me feeling down and depressed or whatever today prevent me from still being able to do what I'm supposed to do. And that somebody's going to be me. I will be successful at the end of the day. And the only person that can prevent that from happening is myself.
That's a great answer. Mindset is huge. I am 100% on board with you that it's very much of a suck it up, buttercup, and just get it done. Because if you don't, no one else is going to do it. So far, Cole, we have talked about your investment portfolio, your position, and the many hats you wear at the VP company. You have told me so many things about mindset and what you need to do to get it done. Our time is starting to wrap up. Are you ready for the final 3 questions?
Ready.
Okay. So your first question is, what is something off of your bucket list that you would like to truly accomplish?
So there's 2 things. One is relatively easy, which I would like to travel to Italy and to taste all the food, the real authentic pizza and the meatballs and stuff like that. And
Okay.
then another one that may be a little bit more difficult, which is I would like to start my own family while my grandmother is still alive. And she's not in hospice or anything, but she's getting older in age, and it's something that I would like her to be able to see my wedding and see my kid's baptism and all that stuff.
Well, both of those answers are fantastic and super sweet. Tons of luck to both of those. What is a skill that you've always wanted to learn?
So this is work related, and this draws back to who I would partner with. I don't like
Okay.
doing the Excel spreadsheets and all that stuff, but I really would like to be able to hone in and figure out the finer details of how to underwrite apartment complexes. And that just involves doing it and getting on the Excel spreadsheet and running the numbers.
That is a fantastic skill. That is also on my list of things that I need to work on. I am very good at the talking part. Brad, my husband, who also is part of my team, is very good at the numbers, and that's more him. And that just, I need to work on it. Okay, last question. If you could go back in time and talk to your 18-year-old self, what would you tell yourself?
I would tell my 18-year-old self, be free and find more about yourself and have the true college life.
That's extremely good advice, especially for some of our listeners who may be younger or starting college. I think that's really, really wonderful. Cole, I appreciate your time so very much. I wish you the absolute best of luck with your investment portfolio. I want to hear all about it at our next meetup. Thank you so much for coming on to the financial game plan with Hannah. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Hannah. It's been awesome.
If you enjoy this podcast, please like, follow, subscribe, and leave me a 5-star review. I would love to continue doing this. And you guys giving me that positive feedback really makes my heart happy and lets me continue to do what I enjoy. Thanks so much, guys. I hope you have a great day. Bye-bye.